Welcome to another episode of The Throne Room, produced by The Bigga Picture. And tonight I have a classic for you guys. I have the legendary, someone who I grew up listening to, someone who helped pave the way for where hip hop is now, today. Ran with the very likes of EPMD, my legendary brother K Solo. I want to give him a special shout out. I thank you for joining us here today, brother. This is very special for me right now.
Thank you, Bigga. Thanks for having me.
Yes, brother. So like to start out, from the very beginning, from your days in Brentwood growing up, because Brentwood and Long Island seem to be a very, very special place for hip hop. A lot of legendary people come out of there, and I'd like to get, your
Yeah, I grew up.
breakdown.
I grew up with Biz. Yeah,
Is
we grew up with Bismarck. Bismarck was from there first.
Mhm.
Bismarck was one of the first architects of Long Island. Rakim grew up, I think, 3 towns over in Wyandanch. I grew up in Central Islip, 1 town over from Brentwood. Um, but hip hop in Brentwood was very big. More so even in CI, Brentwood was like we had a place called the White Church where it was an old white church and rappers weren't on record then at this time. They weren't being it wasn't the Jews didn't get involved in it at this time. And I would sneak out very young just to get on the mic. And I didn't write rhymes back then. I would freestyle and would share the stage with a guy by the name of Amazing A and another guy by the name of Burgermeister. And these guys were just freaking phenomenal. I mean, British Walkers, Playboys. Back then, rap had a uniform. You had to wear your AJs, you had to wear your mock neck, your sweat. I had to have been about 12, very young, and encased in that that melting pot of hip hop. And Parrish's older brother James Smith had a group at the time called Rock Squad, who I was affiliated with, and he would get me on the mic, and I would practice my verses. Red Alert would come to the town. I would carry the crates in, and then I would get some time opening up. Um, but it put us in a situation where we knew the wave was coming, and you had to be real serious in that time to even make it because it was a very small industry. So small that if you didn't dress like a b-boy, you wasn't getting on the mic. Totally different from what it is now. Oversaturated, very, 3,000 people dropping every minute. It wasn't like that in this era. You had to be somebody that people would respect for you to be on the mic. And you had to be a part of that hip hop culture. Um, I have a son now that's doing it. He's hanging out with DJ Nasty and a couple other new guys that are doing the thing. Nasty runs with DJ Khaled. Shout out to them guys. And Ricky Medea and all them. But back in the days when we were doing it, it was totally different. You really had to know your homework. Shout out to Young Wolf too. I mean, Slim Wolf is going to acting school. He's really taking the art form serious. He doesn't live with me, but we both in Florida. And he's at the age now where I can still watch him and make sure he does what he got to do. But era we came from, I remember, you had to be dressed a certain way. You had to have a certain amount of lingo. You had to know how to rhyme on an echo chamber because in New York at that time, the echo chamber um, was prevalent. And shout out to Greg Nice from Nice and Snoop. He still uses that style. He's a throwback of what rappers were when Derwin D and Breakout and them would come to the parks and bring the turntables out. And you would hear the rapper, 1122. His flow without the echo chamber is still built for that echo chamber. When you hear Greg say, Greg, Nice, and it repeats itself, rock for fee, never indulgence for charity. That was the style. Brooklyn, Puma Boys, that era. Calvin Martin, the real 50 Cent, very early though. It was, I was real young, encased in that environment. I had an older cousin named Prince who was around, the Flatbush crew, Tyson and all them. They, anytime I had an issue, Mike Tyson would be like, "Yo, what's up?" I'd be like, because I grew up in that area. I know that whole element. You know, in fact, when things would happen, I would know they were going to happen before they happen. I've been around it so long that I can sense. And my son looked at me one day. He said, "How did you know this guy was going to do that?" And I looked at him. I said, "I've been around. You know, I just know. You know, I was fortunate to be with Dr. Dre when Dr. Dre started Interscope. I mean, started his thing at Death Row, and there to help Snoop actually, you know, fall into this big role that he has. You know, I was there to watch them the early era when Snoop was very, you know, gun shy on the mic and no, shy in the camera, never on the mic, shy in the camera, just there early and you know, wanted Daz and Corrupt to actually have a life. I see the younger guys and I said to myself, I said, what would life be if hip hop blesses these guys and they're able to ascend? I knew that it would be uh life changing for Snoop once he got out of the murder case he had. Seen his mother, Miss Tate, Prey and Chino, and I seen his father. I watched Snoop close, like I did, you know, being there, and gave him a lot of words of encouragement, and you know, because like I said, our culture is, you know, is our culture is a subculture, and a lot of the young guys get it wrong, not understanding the history of the subculture. And I'm there to always like, you know, okay, yeah, but this is this, and this is why that is, and that gives a person a different mindset. Okay, so when I was very young, I just like to start to say that I was a wild, rambunctious kid. My father had broke up with my mother, and my cousins and myself ran the street. You know, and I was, you know, boxing early because my dad gave me these boxing magazines when I was 8 and told me to hold on to it, and I just turned into I was going to be the next, you know, pugilist coming out of my area. My camp consists of Ralph Mann and Buddy McGirt. Buddy McGirt was from Brentwood. I was from Central Hudson. Our towns were always rivals anyway. In the black community, you know, we always follow European, uh, you know, why? Because we felt that they were above us, you know. Um, so you know, me and Buddy were friends, but you know, when it came to boxing now, you know, it's a different scenario, and we're both in the same weight class. Now, Buddy was a lot more experienced than me in a lot of areas too, but I was still not phased by that. I was still, you know, engaging to be in there to go wherever I had to go in that area. What changed that for me was Muhammad Ali shaking, and what happened to Ali. Then I had a different epiphany, and I was like, well, maybe I don't have to be a pugilist. But I did beat Tony Malloy from Parks Recreation through the fight and the third round and let him win. But I beat his ass the whole fight, and because I wanted to, I knew what I can do, and once I knew what I can do, I was fine. But I know I didn't want. Once I seen what rappers were making money, I quickly made a different detour turn. But you know, um, my little brother, 2 years old, boxing, 14 titles after. You know, we retired as to stud. Never lost a fight in the professional circle. Um, you know, something that we did. You know, my godfather being Italian, and what me and Mike Tyson get where we're close at, and Jab Judah's family. My mother grew up in Brooklyn in the same neighborhood as Jab Judah's dad and his people. And so when my brother and me were boxing, we always knew the Judahs. Like we always knew their family because my great grandmother was responsible for bringing uh, the Morris Temple in Brooklyn. There was only one in Harlem that was put in there by Drew Ali, and then the one in Brooklyn that was Frederick L. Turner. My great grandmother Miriam, with the money for her and her husband, would fund a lot of those, you know, to get the information out. They would be a part of that. They were the catalyst of that. And then my grandmother, her daughter, was a Garveyite. So
Wow.
in my family, we always had those people that the high end people in the black culture. So we weren't allowed to not know the history of the culture. We had to know the history about everything from Native American Indians from the Trail of the Tears. We knew it all. You know, we had to, or you know, we would get in trouble. You know, so we knew that we weren't, you know, under the oppressor's boot heel anymore. We knew that education was the key to freedom. So all my sisters, before they got children, you know, all came home with master's degrees and did something with their life. I didn't go to college, but you know, boxing was a college for me, and I went as far as I was supposed to go. And then when I went to hip hop. But I always still needed my tough guy persona because in events and incidents that me and Redman would get into, I always needed to be the anchor. Because there would be times where he was a lot younger than me by 5, and I would be like, okay, well, this is the deal. And Reggie was a stand-up, maybe not as skilled as me, but it's gonna be an issue. He's not gonna lay down for you, you know. So and two, knowing that I knew when I heard him rap, I said to myself, I said, okay, as long as you can do this like that, I can go do the other stuff because you see how Russell and Run was actually able to catapult Run DMC, and then Russell was able to do the business and stay behind. You always need somebody because if he's on stage, he can't really see what's going on in the other areas. And I still love to perform, so I would do that and then show up and do my part. But my thing was basically making sure we had a fair shake and go everywhere we wanted to go, and then tie our families into it. I don't know if people know, but my aunt Vernie played Fresh Prince of Bel Air's mother, in Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
Wow.
We lived with
Okay.
her father, Uncle Walter, right there in Central Islip. So, but we never were around our older cousins because they were already in their careers and they was already doing their thing. So we really never had time to be around them. And then when we popped off, she saw it, right coming out of Uncle Walter and Uncle Frank's house. We came out with our records right from there because we were in so much troubles that, when Reggie got kicked out of Eric's house, we went to Uncle Walter's house. That's Vernie's father. But see, it was very important that he always kept up. Like he understood, even though he didn't understand our hip hop, he knew there was money involved and he took it serious with us. So anytime there was a situation, usually the older people that don't understand, get the hell out of here. They don't understand. But Uncle Walter understood because he was a music teacher in Harlem. He just understood. And Uncle Frank was a psychiatrist at CK Post. So we had best of both worlds. They were always, Uncle Frank was always telling us stuff to keep us on point and, way ahead of stuff. We weren't like, we like this new generation, like I always get on my son about not listening to the elders. And I always say, people pay attention to what's going on because we've been out here longer than you, so we know this game better than you. Imperative that they know that because they think this new generation thinks they know everything and they don't know shit.
Yeah.
Nothing. Zilch. No, seriously, nothing. Zilch. So, and when I listen to these rappers with sense talk, I know they get it from their elders. When I hear Curtis Jackson talk, Curtis Jackson is a product of his grandparents. No question about it. I don't have to ask him. I don't have to ask him. I know this. You know what I'm saying? So, and I want to say this too. Our East Coast with with hold on. Our East Coast always had a problem with why I don't know, but they always had a problem with following an older person to the rabbit hole. Like they wanted to have it on their own early, and they didn't have. They would always wind up with nothing at the end, and the older people would have to open the door for them because the young kids don't have. They don't have it. They got to figure it out or play more of a watching game so you can understand what's going on. I think that would make a lot more difference in the way people articulate and execute. You know what I'm saying? It would be a better if they take their time and just, learn how to play chess. Because life is a game of chess, not checkers. And also too, I want to say this too, the hip hop culture is still young. 50 something is still young. So it's still growing, And most of these kids, their brains are not developed till they get about 32. Then they can have, a little bit of understanding. Young, they don't understand. Most of these people are, procreating early. They don't have the guidance. They don't know what to throw away, what to keep. You know, and it doesn't mean it's a bad part on the parents' job. It's for the kids to pick up on it now, learn that. Okay, let me. You know what I'm saying? Because I shouldn't have to chase you, push you in the seat for you to understand. You don't know what the hell's going on. You know what I'm saying? So you know, but hip hop raises. You know, they want hip hop to raise a lot of people though, and hip hop's really not here to raise people. Hip hop's a business. You know, hip hop was created because you remember back in the days. I don't know if you remember. I remember there was a time when my father looked at me one day and my mother looked at me, and I was boxing, and they was like, "What's he gonna?" You know, they didn't. They weren't bent on will he get a job and keep it, and is it going to be long? Because they know how that worked in their case, right? So you always want more for your kids. So I remember them. You know, the conversation was, "What's going to happen to them when they get older?" My mother always knew. She said, "I don't care. This one here, he's going to be special. He's going to do something." Because all my other sisters went to college, and my mother was like, "He's not interested." It's not that I was slow; I just wasn't interested. I knew that wasn't gonna be a defining factor in my life. Don't get me wrong. I went to school. Now I went to a learning center, and they said I was remedial. And then when I went to Queens, I wasn't. So I knew there something was wrong. In Long Island, I was like, "Oh, hey, he's going here." I wasn't paying attention, and but when I went to Queens and took the test, I was in regular classes. And then when I came back, I graduated regularly. Right, bugged me out. I was like, "Hmm." So I know that this system that we have in America is not really it's not a solid 100% where you can say, roll your dice on it and go, yeah, this is what it is. Now, everything in their culture is the same way. The judicial system is not correct. Their uh their family court system is not correct. The way they do things is not correct. When they beat Christianity into the Africans, it made the Africans more submissive to the bullshit. Now, I'm not saying there's no Jesus. I said when they beat Christianity into you, it was a whole nother scenario. But they beat it into you because history tells us when Isabella, the Queen of Spain, said all the Muslims, the Moors, which was my great grandmother's set, they have to leave, and the Jews have to leave unless they convert to Christianity. When they didn't do that, she kicked them out and expelled them from. And then when she sent Ponce and Leon with Christopher Columbus to go do their exploring for 20% of the taking, right? Also, when she found out that the Africans weren't Christians, she said they can be slaves. But it was all because of religious scenario. It had nothing to do with nothing other than they weren't Christian. And if they wasn't Christian, she said they can be slaves. So we went into slavery. You know what I'm saying? But when they write these books about Africans and they say that the Africans couldn't read and they was uncivilized, this is not true. Because the Africans were speaking Arabic. And there was a whole bunch of slaves that wrote their autobiographies in Arabic as slaves. So, you gotta when you do the history and you start understanding the spin, when they can convince you that you're other than human, it takes place if you believe it.
It's
And
funny.
that's the whole
It's funny you say that. I want to bring up on that a little bit of history that me and you have together. Your mom being from Barbados, being Bayesian, my
right.
father being
Yeah,
from Barbados, being Bayesian. So we like
right.
kinfolk because that's a very Barbados is very, it's a
Yeah,
very small island. Everyone there is,
very small.
yeah, is kind of related to each other. So
Right,
when I go visit, I try to go there at least once a year. So they
right.
one of the oldest Jew temples that they have in the United States is in Barbados. It was built,
Yeah, I know.
yes, it was built in the 1600s. And right next door to it, they have a museum. And in the museum, they show us our history of how we even got there. And that is like an amazing thing. So, they say that the people, and they have it printed on the walls, like our whole history. So the people that migrated to Barbados in the 11th century were running from the Queen Isabella thing that you just mentioned from Spain, and they were called Jews, and
Right.
they were supposed to be experts in sugar.
And sugar.
Yeah. So that, like, right there really breaks down a lot to tell you who's the Lord's tribe of Israel right there. That the people
Very deep.
that the people right there, and yes, in Barbados, those was the actual, people that was some of the people that was escaping that, and they went there.
That's funny you say that because my grandfather, great grandfather who married the Moor, was Jewish.
Hmm. Yes.
And he was in Barbados.
Yes. Wow, look at that.
Because his father, my great 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 grandfather, name was Levi.
Hmm.
And they was Jews. And
Yeah.
they married my great grandmother, who was a Moor Muslim. So that means, I'm not saying they was in Spain, but they had to know the same scenario because Barbados is very small.
Yeah, the very you could walk almost like Harlem, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Like my mother would never let me get into it with my own. Like if I was having issues like with anybody, I would always have to take the high road. My mother never let me, especially if they look like me. I couldn't. I had to take the high road. I couldn't. I couldn't really, take it like that. She was like, "No, they're under this. But this is what happened. This is why they acting like that. Leave them alone. They don't understand." And I used to be like, I had to bite my tongue and move on. Let me keep it real. When I was with Death Row and I seen Suge and I seen how Suge was, I come to find out Suge's people are from Mississippi. Can you imagine the ideology that when he was instilled upon to embrace? Because he wasn't really like that.
copy.
But remember, no, I'm just saying remember, but when you adapt the ideology, you are lesser than. It takes place. Once they're in your mind, they say, I'm this, it comes to life. That's why they say, be careful. This is what my dad told me. He said, be careful what you wish for and be careful how you talk about yourself because your subconscious doesn't know when you're playing. And I used to be like, oh, shit. And he's right. You know,
Hmm.
it's like, because you think about it, right? Like that spellbound style was such a intricate
Amazing.
piece of artwork. It got me in so much trouble. I lost a friendship with DMX over that. It's like he was so obsessed with spellbound. And I used to be like, Earl, you sold 40 million records. Why are you still what? They was obsessed with it still. And it was like, and now, love him, God bless him. We
Rest
both
in
made
peace to him.
ourselves somebody. Yeah, yeah. Love him. It wasn't nothing that. It was just he's trying to find his place. I understand. I was there too. I get it. But I can't take none of that to heart when I know what the oppressors did. They pit us all against each other. The light skin versus the dark skin, the old against the young, the tall against the little. They put everybody against each other so they don't come together. And it's still happening today. When you look and sometimes I step back and look at it and I go, whoa, it's really scary when you see how it does and how people can't join forces and hold it down. How they preaching this solo shit all the time. Like they're preaching this, all I need is me. And I'm like, no, to win a war, you need a whole bunch of you. To win a Super Bowl, you just can't have a quarterback. You need a coach, you need a running back, you need you need a safety, you need a whole bunch of shit. You need an offense and a defense. But they trick us into believing that ideology, and then we go to bed saying it, and then We live that shit, and it's failure. We just don't know it till the time runs out. That's how much they fear the creator and his people, because the way they spun you, the way they spun it so viciously that the ones that can help are so blind and so off the set, they can never help. Not even themselves.
And I want to mention one thing too. This is very good information for our people to understand, because I think this is where our people drift off and don't, and they mix the two up. So you have you have a religion called Roman Christianity, but then you had a people who were Jews who were called Christians, first called Christians in the land of Antioch because they were
Antioch.
the disciples of Christ. That's
Right.
where Christians exactly come from. The Roman Christianity came later when they was fighting a war with Constantine. And Constantine couldn't
Constantine.
over defeat the people, and he decided to take on the banner of a cross and now create and
A
and
world
take
religion. Yeah.
exactly. So it's two
Yeah.
different things. And where this concerns us very much so is because it all goes to the Spanish Inquisition. So when
Yes, it
Queen
does.
Isabella, she had an army of Christians that fought for her, the knights. They were called the
Nice.
knights because they were actually black. They were actually Jews. So they was called the knights. That had a lot to do with why their face was covered up. Now, these were the ones that were after the disciples and the war was going on over them. These was the ones that had migrated over into Spain and started living in Negro land. There's an area in Spain called Negro land, but it's actually named after the Negro land that comes from in Africa, which is basically meant the land of black people. And
Right.
they fought the Moors to help get the Moors out of Spain, and that's how they settled there and stayed there for some centuries. Fast forward, you had a saint by the saint name of Saint Maurice, and he was ordered to go into a land and get rid of all these people that was in the land, this land, and that he was told that they were savages, and that they were, people that, they needed to go out, go there, kill, expunge them, get rid of them. So when Saint Maurice and his Christian knights went to the land to get rid of the people, guess who the people was? The people was actually their own kinfolk. They were actually the
Right.
Jews that hadn't
Jews.
fell under the
Right.
Spain Roman Christianity. So when
Right.
he got there and he saw that, they sent back word to her that we can't kill these people. You know what I'm saying? Like
They were kindred to them.
exactly, they're kindred, and if anything, they done learned that they the real Christians. So she got upset and sent the army in, bigger than the army of the knights, and killed everyone. And then after she did that, she started the Spanish Inquisition, and she said she wanted all Jews out of Spain, which actually, from the Spanish Inquisition, is what created the slavery that we have here now in America.
Right. No, I know. But our culture don't know that.
No,
You
and
know, they,
it's
they're not
important.
digging.
Yeah, it's important, I think, for them to know that it's a big difference. You see, to be a Christian is the adjective. So because the original people that they were Jews, they was called Christian because of the way of life was patterned after the Messiah, which was Christ. So they was called Christians, which as a mockery term, like look at these baby Christians, the baby Christs, and that's where Christians came from. And like to this day, like we do, we took it and we wore it, and that's what it was. Christianity that Constantine took on, that was something that he took and mixed with his pagan ideals and stuff like that and made that religion. So it's two
Yeah.
different things. Like when someone say to me, if I'm a Christian, I always say that I could only hope that my way of life and my actions, you know, allow you to see me as a Christian.
Right. That
Be-
makes sense.
yeah, because
Because,
it's a
but
description.
people don't know this neither. Now, when Farad Muhammad came to America from Pakistan, he was in the Moorish temple.
Mhm.
Because from all Muslims started from there. Clarence the 13th X was there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Elijah Muhammad was Elijah Pool Bay. He was there. And then they all broke off to do other things, which, you know, was something else because, they had to change it a little bit to make it fit their criteria. Mainly financially motivated to get that paper. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, true Islam, I don't know, I don't think it's second. No, it doesn't teach that. It's really pure, you know. And it's a shame, like Muhammad Ali said, the one thing Ali had regret was not listening to Malcolm X when Malcolm X was trying to pull his coat. He said the one regret he has is like he would have just, there's a lot of things that a lot of people don't know about him neither. It's like Cassius Marcellus Clay was named after an abolitionist who had a newspaper called The True American in the 1800s in Kentucky. And this Irish man was a badass. He was freeing slaves. And every time in the South would try to stop him, it would turn deadly. He would win. Whether it would be dueling, chase, somebody shot him in the chest. He ran through the crowd with a bow knife, cut the dude's eye out. A lot of people don't know that.
And that's
A
who
lot
he
of
was named
abolitionists.
after.
Well, he was named after his father because his father's was Cassius Marcellus Clay Sr., but the grandfather named Ali's father after that guy.
After that guy, yeah.
But Ali still didn't know the true essence of the name. He calls himself Muhammad, and Prophet Muhammad had black slaves because he was a Middle Easterner.
Hmm.
So you got to know the whole history, and when they did in their slave trade, in the Atlantic slave trade is what we hear all the time. But when you go to the Middle Eastern slave trades, they was castrating the men so they don't have sex. I mean, it was brutal shit that was going on that level.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
very.
saying? But it falls all in line when God told Jacob that his ancestors would be in bondage for 400,000 years.
By his own brother.
By his own brother, he said, "You will
By
sit
his
at the
own brother.
table."
Mhm.
He said, "But you will not." No, he said, "You will stand at the table and serve, but you will not sit."
Hmm.
So when you hear these quatrains and how it spins, it's like you see that we fell victim to, like I said, we got around other people and lost our damn minds because we had our own, from Egypt to every level of African that we led the world in civilization, and then we fell like baboons, and then we lost everything. You know what I'm saying? Church lost the house because we following other people that didn't even have a way of life. The wasn't the Jews, the Hasidic Jews, they came and got a religion. They weren't born like that.
No, no, of course not.
You know what I'm saying? So, and if you notice that it's true too, that it's a religion, because if you go to India, there's a Jewish community. If you went to Germany, there was a Jewish community there. You know, anywhere you went there, you could find a Jewish community or a Muslim community. They didn't have nothing to do with, we were one culture people doing this. It was the way you wanted to. That's what it was.
Mhm.
And to control, they changing it. They want you to believe that anyway. So if you don't know the history, they can sell you into, like that said, they can create this religion and sell it back to you. If you don't know your own history, they can sell it to you and say, okay, even though this is of you, they can create it and spin it, put another name and sell it to you. That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. That's what they did. That's what they did with the Bible. Because
And
they
that's what I said. When hip hop came, he fed these people because he knew. He said, "How would Snoop maybe get his mom, and how would LL and them get their mama houses if hip hop wasn't going to come through that line of a religious order? Like, in other words, God hearing the children of these people. If he didn't create hip hop for them, how would they have done it? Because everybody's partying now. Everybody's,
Mhm.
everybody got a piece of chicken in their mouth. And I'm talking about when it wasn't created. What would you have done?
Absolutely.
I mean, to have what so you got to think it's a divine level that came down. It came down. Something came down to them. And God doesn't like to interfere in our affairs. You know that when you read the book of Giants, when he said to the watchers, he said, go down and watch them, but don't interfere. And the angels started having sex with the women and having giants on the planet.
The Nephilim.
A lot of people, correct, the Nephilim. But it's because he told them don't interfere. And Razel did interfere. He just went start teaching them how to create weapons of mass destruction and all kind of shit. And it's like when you look at hip hop as a whole, like I said, everybody got a piece of chicken and they dancing now. But where did it come from? And it was right on time too, as far as it's right when the people needed something to have to embrace their self, you know what I'm saying, and be somebody. They wouldn't have had that without that hip hop. We wouldn't know who you know who hurt. We wouldn't know who he is. We wouldn't know who Curtis Blow is. Through this art form, we see them and they move like kings and queens. Sharaf, queen. Latifah, queen. Because of this art form. And it's in the universal language, and it is not slowed down yet.
Yeah.
So I just wish that they get the idea of what it's here for, and use it correctly. You know what I'm saying?
You said a
Because
couple Jews, man. The legendary Mike Tyson. That you grew up with Mike. That's your friend. That's amazing, right there.
well, just when I be in Brooklyn and I see him and I see Riddick Bowe and them, and I knew who my mother knew. In fact, when I was in Brooklyn living with the Coopers, I would see all these people, and when I get into some shit, right? Mike's always like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Nothing, I'm good." It's like, you know, um, Mike will, because me and Mike was at Devontae's studio. He was ready to beat up my friend's flow rider, and I was like, "Yo,"
What?
and I said, "Yo, these are my friends, man." And he went, "What?" I said, "Yo, man, these are my friends." He was like, "Fuck." He said, "All right, man, tell you what, man, just do me a favor then. I'm gonna leave them alone. Yo, help me bring cannabis out." So I went and got done.
Wow. Okay.
Because I'm just saying, because it's like when we was kids and I would see them fighting, and you gotta remember Mike Tyson's godfather and my godfather grew up in the Bronx together. They're Italian. Um, Tony was my godfather was a big fan of Sugar Ray Robinson and boxed in the same gym as Sugar Ray Robinson. Sugar Ray Robinson and them was coming from Detroit, but they migrated to Harlem. So him and Joe Louis was Harlem. They were the celebrated stars of Harlem. My godfather's father was the matchmaker at St. Nick's Arena. Um, so I would know, my favorite fighter was Ali, because I was very much like him with the mouth and the poetry and the fast hands that I moved similar. Um, and Guy Gunter, my godfather's brother, Guy, who was also a trainer too. His favorite fighter was Joe Louis. You said something about Joe Louis. This Italian dude will try to fight you.
No doubt.
I'm serious. Like he was like, I grew up in an environment where, it was all fighting, always fighting. And if you lose, my mother would be like, "Don't bring him home. I don't want to see him." Like it was like that,
Yeah.
because she's from
Yeah.
Brooklyn. She didn't
Yeah.
want to hear it. You had to demo something every night, and then you can coexist with her. But you know, my dad was more lenient on that shit because my dad would go to the fights with us. the camera. My dad was a very big fight fan too. And my dad grew up in West Virginia. All his cousins boxed with the Mayweathers because my grandmother, his mother, is Rosa, not Rosa Parks. Um, uh, Martin Luther King's wife is my grandmother's first cousin too. She's a Scot. They all grew up in Alabama. So all her ancestors fought with the Mayweathers. They all grew up in Michigan and they fought with them. So boxing was in our blood the whole time. I didn't know. Um, so Tony would tell me the stories about Sugar Ray Robinson, and we would watch the fight films, but that was our life, man. And then at a certain age, when I didn't stay at Uncle Frank's house and I was, I had a spot at the gym, I would always be at the gym. In fact, that's where Redman wrote Time for Some Action. Because Redman was my DJ then. So boxing was always, a big part of our life and how we moved, and kept us out of trouble and kept us, we running 5 miles a day or 10 miles a day and we'd be sleep. And I grew up in the Connecticut area where the Seneca Indians are from. Central Islip was where Seneca Indians are from. That Bayshore and Brentwood. Now this is funny. One tribe of Indians were in this area, but when the Europeans take it over and split it up and say Brentwood, CI, the blacks have an issue. That's what you got to understand about how we believe in their ideologies. Not saying all of them are off for bullshit, because it's not. I got an uncle who's Scottish who tell me that there's more white niggers than black niggers ever. He's using the word correctly, I want to point out to you too. You know how back in the days you hear nigger and a white man say, hey, he's not saying black people are niggers because of their black. He's saying you could be a nigger by the way you think and act, which is correct. You know what I'm trying to say? But he said to this day, there's way more white niggas than black niggas. And I'm like, makes sense. So, we got to re-educate, the people on the words and how it moves. Because like I said, you could be white, blue eyes, and still be a nigger in my book. Now, when I was a little kid and they said it was nigger and I had on my bit, I didn't know. I thought everybody black was a nigger. I mean, because, you say black, that was the thing. What? He's called me a nigger. So now I know that anybody could be a nigger. Because if you look in a dictionary, like I was telling people, you look in a dictionary and you look up potato nigger, it says Irishman. You look in the same dictionary and say Indian, it says red nigger. And if you look in the same dictionary, it says it says it says it says yellow rice nigger is an Indian, is a Chinaman. And then if you say Middle Eastern is a sand nigger. So there it was like a epiphany to me. I was like, oh shit. We're not just it's not just single to us, it could be anybody.
Mhm.
So, but I have to get that information out to my kid. I have to let because they don't know and they're walking on eggshells on the word. I'm like, no, no, no. This is what it is. This is what it is. I got spun too. But I noticed when I started figuring out, and my nana told me this first, when I went to jail, and my nana, God bless my grandmother Ruth, she's like, you don't even live in the ghetto. You can't be a nigger. And I said, and she's a Garvier. And I said, Nana, they call black people nigger. Like you don't know what the hell's going on. I'm going to jail for it. She looked at me, she said, look in this dictionary. And I started looking at the shit and I couldn't believe what she showed me. I was like, oh shit. And now I changed my whole way of thinking. And I learned that once I found out how things were, my mind started, it was like its senses started, that things were turning off. And the things that needed to be turned on were turned on. It's like just in my own self, I felt that I was like, ooh, I feel different about this now because I didn't know the truth about them. And once I learned the truth about them, I looked at them different and felt different about them. And I kind of figured out the black diaspora, like I would tell my god brother Scotty Esdale, who's the president of the NAACP, he would say, me, him, and Michael Bivens would have conversations. And he would say, you're making a lot of sense. And I said, yeah, but if we can get the word out in a way, it can make sense because now you're helping people. You can't help people. How does it make sense? And that's the whole thing. It's like people gotta make sense out of shit. If you don't make sense out of it, how do you You can't. It's just all fucked up.
Redman was your DJ?
Yeah, Redman was my DJ first because the first DJ he didn't make the cut. He didn't pass through quality control. See, in our camp, the hit squad, we had quality control. And if you didn't pass quality control, you give a fuck who you was, it wasn't going down. So we had a DJ up there and he was he fucking around and them niggas was like, nah. I was like, all right. I was like, Redman. So he'll take Redman. Redman passed quality control. He was a DJ first.
Wow.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
never
And then
knew
me and
that.
Reggie, yeah, and the thing about me and Redman was like, I never had to talk to him. Like we talked a couple of things, but it's like we're born on the same day. I don't know how this works. We are always thinking of the same shit and we're always on the same page without even saying it. But I'm older than him. I didn't want to be on the stage with a blunt in my mouth. So I love Method Man for being his. People used to be like, oh, I know you're upset. I used to be like, no, I love Method Man and him. They got a great energy. I love that. I didn't want to be the guy. You understand? Like I got too much shit up here to be on the stage with him talking about some,
Yeah.
how high. I got too much. In other words, there's too much shit going on. Plus, I got too much shit to watch for them, all of them. I'm older than them. I gotta watch this guy, I gotta watch that guy, I gotta make sure this guy doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Because they don't really understand me any fucking way. They'll understand me when the war's going down and I'm playing somebody down, then they get it. They're too young to understand the other shit. They don't understand. And I want to say every time we left, we made it back home. I remember we had a fight with Hammer, but like Eric, when I hear Eric say the stuff he says, I don't think Eric knows we didn't fight MC Hammer's brother. We fought a dancer in MC Hammer's crew. Because MC Hammer has three brothers. He has Louis Burrell, he has Keith, and he has Chris. And Keith, all three of them are bigger than MC Hammer in size.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know what I'm saying? No fucking way. And let me just say this to you too. They're from Oakland, California. So when we're in this engagement with them and we're going through this shit and this opportunity, thank God Louis Burrell and MC Hammer was professional and didn't push it. Because it could have been ugly for us in that environment, in their own town. Like, come on. Like you honestly think that they couldn't have did what they wanted to do to us in their town?
Y'all had to
That's what I'm
fight
saying. The
MC
youth,
Hammer? I
nah,
never.
not me.
Mm-hmm.
Eric and Parrish had an issue with him, and then I had to go in there because they're younger than.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't gonna let nothing happen to them. Came with them, And Eric was like, "Oh, he's a Golden Glove boxer." No, 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 no. I was gonna turn pro. I would have been a professional fighter. You know what I'm saying? I know I've been doing this since a little kid, bro. And what they don't really understand because they never saw that. They don't understand. They never saw that side. You had to been in jail to see me walk the red dot, and then you'd be like, oh shit, yeah, this guy know what he's doing. Just like when I went to death row and I could be around all of those guys and nothing happened. I know how to walk that line. You know what I'm saying? You have to be groomed. My cousin, I've been around that shit my whole life. So I understand that shit. It's like second nature. But when you're talking to guys that really don't understand that, they don't understand. They just think they know. And they don't really know till it goes down. And then they be like, oh, because remember, you have to turn up. You don't turn up, you're gone. Like the Tuesday's trash. If you don't turn up to that level of whatever's going down,
I was going to
it's
ask
not
you too.
happening.
How could I like that had to be something for you to survive that time because that was like the height of the East Coast so-called West Coast rivalry, and you when
Yeah,
I
it wasn't a so-called, it was real. But the thing was, God knew who to send first. Like I was the first one through there. And remember, Redman's looking at me. Redman comes to Woodland Hills and he's rolling the blunt, and then he just one day, I mean, I'm looking at him and I'm saying, "What's wrong?" And he goes, "Yo, man, they killed niggas, bro." And I said, "Man, I know where the fuck we at. Roll the blunt," because I didn't want him to know. In other words, I know exactly what he was saying. Well, fuck that, I'm here, nigga. There ain't no time for that shit right now. We here. So I told him, I know where the fuck we at. Just roll the blunt, nigga. And then, and he just looked at me, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, if you don't turn up, it's not gonna, you can't do nothing with that. And I turned up there. I was there too. Sledgehammer, brass knuckles, mouthpiece. I was in the midst of the shit. Like, yeah. Because if they do something, right, they're gonna have to do it officially. They're gonna have to. I mean,
Absolutely.
I already knew what it was. I knew when I went to sign, I knew what that was, but it's the same thing going into jail, in the governor or any upstate prison you go to. Anywhere you go, you're still gonna have to walk the red line. You still need the phone. So what's the difference? Like my mother said, every monkey knows who's a tree climber. They can smell what it is when they see you. Don't be fooled by the passe shit. It's not true. It's not true. Either you're food or you're a wolf.
Absolutely.
There's no gray area. Either they're gonna eat your food or they're gonna watch you eat someone's food or they're gonna walk away. And that's what it is. I remember I rubbed shoulders with all of them. The ones that passed and the ones that, I rubbed shoulders with them. I knew what it was because I know they're trying to find their way too. But you're not gonna, this is my plate though. You know what I'm saying? So Redman is just a real motherfucker. Out of all of those niggas in that crew, Redman showed up at my door. Like, nah, man. Redman is the only one that, don't get me wrong, I'm close with the other ones too. But not me and Reggie just have some type of, can't explain it. It's just a different uh magnet.
I thought
Cause I
y'all was
open the door and
brothers
there's
when I was growing up.
no, he's my brother from another mother. We're both born on the same day, and our mothers, we call each other's mother's ma. And Reggie's mother looks just like my older sister. Like if they were in the room, I'd have to get up on them close to tell them apart. That's how much they look alike. But yeah, I'm in Woodland Hills, and Redman's at the door. Like, come on, man. All right, you proved your point. Let's go. And I'm like, what? He said, all right, man. Yo, they kill niggas, bro. I said, I know where the fuck we at, nigga. Roll the blunt. And we laughing about it now, but at that time it wasn't a laughing matter, because he was like, let me get you. And then when I came home, I stayed with Parrish for a little while. And then me and Redman made the song, Big Brother, for on the Def Jam Muddy Waters album. It was the first single, you know. And I love to work with Dr. Dre. I mean, I still said Sam Snead still goes out there to work with Dre. Sam Snead just did some stuff on Snoop's album. You know, working with Andre Young, it was like it was a dream come true because I got to see him work in his environment and what works, right? But I wish he would have told me earlier what was going on because he didn't invade me. He would just say shit like, "Did he do this?" And I would say no, and I would laugh. He would never say to me what his feelings was towards him. So I didn't know how to read what was going on. Next thing I come back, he's gone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Was Suge the big bad monster that they describe now today?
Oh yeah, yeah. Because what it was, like I said, like I tell you why. It's not his fault though. This is fucked up about. I say this about because me and Suge had a great time too. I never had an issue with Suge, but I had a brother from Brooklyn that got in it with him and laid him down. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't there to be like, hey, wait, well, I
What?
wasn't there.
I gotta hear this. No doubt.
No, so when I was living in Brownsville, right? My man Sean Cooper, it's his brother that was bodyguarding Akon.
Hmm.
So here we are living in Brownsville together. Me, Sean, Wink, Keedy, Kim, uh, Roslyn, Fatima, Toya, and Dennis. All of us living together. Like we didn't know what we was gonna do, how we was figuring it out. I had a warrant in New York for beating the biker up. Their father, Big John's dad, had a warrant too. Feds looking for him. And John was working for John Gotti Jr. at the time. So we're all trying to figure it out because we're in Brownsville. Mind you, we just fresh out of Long Island. Nobody had no job. We had no money coming in. We're hungry. Me and Sean Cooper, my brother, walking the block every day trying to figure it out until we landed our jobs. And then we would come and then, feed the house till we got stable. And then everybody got on. And we were like, whoa, close call. Move all the way up to the years of Death Row. He's managing. Ja is in a different area now. He's a manager. He's managing Akon. So his mother had just passed. Now, when Suge said something about the mother, he hit him. He didn't even get a chance to think. Suge fell down like a ton of bricks, pressed charges on him. Now, like I said, because when you're dealing, this is what I've been telling people. Everybody's not a sucker. You're gonna run into some real shit you're gonna run into some real ones, man.
Of course.
Especially when you see me, like,
Yeah.
like you could get moms in my business twisted, like a lot of people do. I'm like, please don't listen to the song and judge me on that. Like, I mean, because my jail record was always, hands. Oh, he beat him up, he knocked his teeth out or something. I never had to rob you. I didn't have to do that. But I know that, I've been doing this shit my whole life. You know what I'm trying to say? They would come get me, yo. Like, he's gonna knock him out, and we're gonna do this, come get me. You know what I'm saying? So I was active like that. And I would be in the room, you know, with I would see shit at an early age and see shit doing the after, I seen Pappy Mason in the movie. I lived on Liverpool. When they shot the cop, that's on the corner of my dad's house.
Whoa.
So I seen it all. You know what I'm saying? Like I grew up in the midst of all of this shit. My uncle shut down motherfucking 40 projects one day. I'm there with the fucking burner, like looking at these niggas like, please don't come out. You know what I'm saying? So I've been around this shit my whole fucking life. So that's what I'm saying. That's why I told Suge, I said, Suge, I seen all of this. I told him when he thought it was like, I wasn't phased. I said, I grew up around this shit. I already know what this is. And I knew that when the way I walked in there and where they see me, it's the same way. One night, Suge was in the press box and Ricky Lee was in there. Ricky Lee was one of the guys that was with Tupac when he got the case. And Suge Knight, his name was in the booth. When he seen the dude, he knew what it was. He moved and sat in the other seat. He didn't ask that guy for this. He knew what it was. You understand? So that's what I'm saying. Everybody's not. Remember, Jamaicans, highly dangerous. Caribbean people, they've been free longer than the Africans in the South. So they're liver. They don't care about what you think they care about. You remember Edgecombe?
Of course.
So I used to work, me
Grew
and my
up there.
cousin Mo used to work for this guy who lived in, won't say his name because, that's not professional.
Yeah, we don't do that.
Heavy Jamaican drug lord. And we bagging up, dropping off, bagging up, dropping off. Go to Edgecombe, do what we got to do. Young kids, man, give us a call. So we had a studio one day in Roxy in Long Island City. He buys cash the studio and moves it to his house because he wanted to do his reggae shit in the house. So, you know what I'm saying? We've been around this shit our whole fucking life. So that's what I be saying to people. Are you sure you want to deal with this kind of, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm just going to do this part. But if they get involved, you know what I'm saying? Like my cousin Prince, anytime he showed up, it was some shit. I used to be like, oh, man, my blood cousin. Anytime he showed up, it was a problem. Let me tell you a story. We in the club one day. This girl I grew up with, she's an Indian chick named Kim. We call her Wonder Woman. So we're in the club. Her cousin is hanging out with my cousin. I didn't even know he knew her. We find out he's got a baby in the girl, and he comes to me and he goes, "You was always going to be somebody. Your mother and father was somebody." And he walks out. Kim's cousin turns to me and goes, "That's your cousin?" I go, "Yeah." Her husband was there in the shadows, and now he's beefing with me because that was my cousin. I said, "Yo, are you kidding me? He was just here." He didn't want no problem with him. He wanted the problem with me because I was related to him.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
Right hand to guard. My man pulled out on him and said, "Yo, we'll take you outside and wait and wipe you down right now. Don't even get close to him." I'm like, yo, I couldn't believe it, man. I knew this guy all my life, never had an issue with him. As soon as my cousin showed up, he had a baby in his wife's stomach. And he didn't say nothing to him. When he left, he wanted to approach me because I'm related to him. Right hand on everything I hold. So you know what I'm trying to say? So I'm looking at this nigga and I'm saying, yo, so I know what I'm talking about. And I'm gonna say this too. All these guys say that they tough guys, right? All these guys that do all of that shit, I don't do that. I don't have to do that. Redman don't do that neither. Redman don't do that neither. Redman's like, ha 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 ha, till you fuck with him. Till you, he's ha 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 ha, till you do something stupid, and then it changes. I'm just keeping it real.
I mean, that's how we grew up. That's how I know I grew up under
Right,
y'all, and that's
right.
how, you
Yeah, yeah,
know,
yeah,
like the
yeah.
toughest
I wish I
guy.
was a little younger because yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right, you're right, you're right.
Yeah, the toughest guys didn't. The toughest guys did not rap like that.
Yeah,
I grew up under, you, Slick Rick, Heavy D. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
yeah,
I know stories. You know what I'm saying? And none of those guys was nothing to play with. And that wasn't in their music. Their music was like,
yeah.
love,
Schoolie D's
peace.
like that too. You could laugh at Schoolie D. Schoolie D will laugh at you. Schoolie D will pencil something into the ground right to this day. I was with Schoolie D at this event, and we was just sitting there laughing. Schoolie D still got that shit with him.
No doubt. But that's
Solid, solid dude, man.
yeah, that's how it was back in the days. It wasn't about this generation is different, This generation feel like they have to have that image as a band of who they are. But if anything, back in the days, we was raised up under y'all. That's something you keep secret. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That if
Yeah,
someone
nobody want to be sitting in fucking jail for these stupid motherfuckers. Nobody want to be
exactly,
sitting in jail because that's what they're gonna do every 5 minutes. I know there's another thing too. Soon as either they're gonna go get a gun because they got beat up, or they're gonna call the cops because they got. I mean, it was just a bad situation for them.
mm,
Neither one is not good. No, I know.
absolutely,
But like I said, hopefully that this era of hip hop, young kids figure out what to do because they're not touring as much as we are. You know, they got a nice fan base, but they're not doing enough to, bring it together so they can celebrate. That shit is war mode. You know what I'm saying? But that's what happens when you don't have OGs stuff. You notice how Snoop fell into the right category when he had OGs? You notice how 50 Cent fell into the right category because he has OGs? It helps him. It helps solidify them. It's just a good scenario, you know. Now I'm happy to be that for Reggie, to be still having some say so in him and Vaughn's life and be like, well, this is what this is. But Reggie told me one day when he became, iconic, he looked at me and said, you were right about everything. So, thanked me, he was like, you saw it before anybody. Because I told him, I said, don't listen to none of this. You're gonna do what you're doing. Don't listen to nobody. Do exactly what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Keep your circle small. He did. When I see him, because I used to didn't think he was listening, big. I used to be like, is this motherfucker listening?
yeah,
Because he always with the blunt and shit. He always with the blunt and moving around. I used to be like, is this motherfucker listening? But he was. He was listening. He was paying attention. You know, things I told PMD, I don't know if PMD really was able to listen to because PMD knew me as a child. Redman meeting me for the first time as an artist, I guess it's different because, when you know a person, like they always said, you sleep on the person that you know. You kind of walk past his wisdom like he don't really know. But I really know my shit. I'm behind Jason Assel and Yan Whitaker's crypto coin Totality Smart Gas token. Um just we went to college together. So they're guys that I know and words of encouragement and you point people in the right directions on certain things and it benefits and they appreciate it, because they're younger than me. And brought me into the line of a crypto coin and the crypto industry. Also, this year is going to embark a year where we can actually get in TV and do something with Aunt Vernie. We was raised. Our father was always in our corner. He was a solid pillar in in our life. Me since I was 8. Redman, when you get kicked out, you go on Uncle Walt's, especially when he was in Long Island, and we were like, we're like the kids too. So, but it's funny that I get to bring, Aunt Vernie into what we're doing, and then reach out to Aunt Karen, who went to school with Donald Trump. She does the Barney, and it's Tom the Builder. That's her
Wow.
IP thing.
Okay.
Well, I can have conversations now with them because now, the iconic status we laid down in the music game is enough with Vaughn and then the other little kids that are in our family now. We can contribute and put them in the scenario. Because remember, the hardest thing for me to be in Vernie's face and say this shit, knowing that they did their thing and Uncle Walter was really hard on them. Like Uncle Walter was hard on Vernie. And we didn't see her in the holidays. Like they didn't come see her. We was with her. But I understand the diaspora of our culture now. Because I understand what happened. Can you imagine a guy in Harlem in that time when Joe Louis was fighting in Harlem? The whole Harlem was fighting. I need you to brace that for a minute to understand. Okay, so I'm yelling Ali, and I'm fast, and I'm doing all my shit. I'm hard to hit, and I'm pretty. I'm the guy, right? I'm the guy. I'm this guy. And I remember going to the gloves that year, and Ali put the gloves on. We waited all day for Ali. We didn't, Joe Frazier, we liked him, but we wasn't waiting on his line. We was waiting on Ali's line. So I remember we get to that part and then we leave. Guy walks me upstairs and he goes, "Look up." And I'm like, okay, I eat my hot dog and I'm a little kid. And he wants me to look at the sign. It says Madison Square Garden, and under it says 8th Avenue. And he says, "What does it say under the 8th Avenue?" I said, "Joe Louis Plaza." He said, "He built this shit." I was like, so I understand why Joe Louis is who he is to them. Because you remember when Jack Johnson stepped on the scene in 1901, and the white patriots would see him in the ring and they would write him and they would say, "If you beat this white man, we're going to kill you." He said, "You're going to have to kill my black ass because I'm going to knock this white man cold." In 1901. And he was marrying white women. So you talking about me going to LA when it wasn't cool. That's nothing compared to what Jack Johnson had to go through. You understand?
Yeah.
Jack Johnson stood in front of a crowd of millions of white fans that wanted him to get knocked out and said, "I'm going to knock this white man cold. Walk out, get his money, then marry a white woman." There was no Muslims to protect him. There was no NAACP. It was just him. So when you can understand the power of one black man could do when he put his mind to it, Jack Johnson's a god to me. I mean, I'm a live one, but Jack Johnson, that's why I wasn't scared of them. I said, "Man, y'all, y'all put y'all pants on like me. I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? And you're gonna feel I ain't afraid, you're gonna keep it moving like you did."
Yeah, that's amazing right there. Speaking about boxing, what do you think about this fight coming up with your brother, Mike Tyson fighting this guy right now? You think you worried for him? You think it's
I think
gonna
if
be
Mike hits
okay?
him, no, I think if Mike hits him, I you know, shout out to Mike and Kiki, and the family. But I know Mike, if you hit him, just get him, hit him in the solar plexus for me. I just want to see him shit on himself. But I know Mike's gonna hit him. Mike's gonna hit. When Mike hit him, it's gonna be a short night. He's gonna hit him. He's gonna get, like I said, they're gonna make a mistake. He's 27. He's gonna make a mistake. Everybody, like Joe Louis would say, you can run, but you can't hide. He's gonna make a mistake. Mike's gonna catch up because Mike is a little advanced in age, but Mike been doing this shit so long, it's second nature to him. I didn't want him to take this fight though, because I didn't think Jake Paul should be in the ring with him. I wanted him to smack that motherfucking fighting. That's what I was hoping. Seriously, because if I could be around, I would have trained him. Because he had that, I had that. I was like, yeah, give me him. Let me train him for a little while. Teach him how to do shit. And then get in his head so he can go slap him, show him the size of that dude's house and say, he got that kind of house. What kind of house do you want? If he's got that. And then show him the Disney commercial. You know what I'm trying to say? Because he don't belong in the ring with Mike Tyson. He's not that caliber. But his hustle put him there. That's what I'm saying. I want to take the chains off my community's brains. Because there's still a lot of change baggage up there. There's still things wrapped up in them that they're not understanding that they can really do if they just, believe and move. They can do it. It's real easy. Jack Johnson did that in 1901. Think about this. How did he get the money to get on a boat to chart all the way to Australia to call him out? In 1901, he was dark skinned like you. He couldn't hide. Bald head, gold teeth, wearing pretty old suits and hats. Got on the boat and challenged Tommy Burns for the heavyweight title. Black people could do anything they put. If he could do that, then married 3 white women. They hated him. So that's why when Joe Louis came, they changed Joe Louis was the opposite from him. They made Joe Louis, every time Joe Louis beat somebody, he wasn't able to do this. He had to just be docile into the corner. He couldn't take pictures with white women. If they were white women, they had to be kids, and he had to have been feeding the animal something with the child. He could never take a picture with a white woman like where the white people think. He could leave with her. He could never do that. And he was a light-skinned male, black man. And a nice looking dude. He was nice looking too. He had good features, you know what I'm trying to say? He was handsome. So same with Ali. Now Ali's the third of them. Jack Johnson, Joe Louis, then Clay. Ali. So that's how me and my trainer and Mike Tyson's trainer, Tyson's favorite fighters, Customato's favorite fighter was Jack Dempsey. He was 12 years old. He snuck in to see him fight in Colorado. He snuck in to see him. He was 12. Watch Jack Dempsey fight. You know what I'm saying? Jack Dempsey was a bad motherfucker though. And he wasn't racist. He was a white guy he would be working on the railroad, and he always liked Sam Langford. He always spoke highly of Sam Langford, was a fighter from Boston. He spoke highly of him. The K Solo hat that I made famous was because I was a boxer, and in the boxing I would wear the hat this way, frontward, and as a rapper I just turned it back, and it became Ice Cube used it, Rakim used it. That I signature that first.
Yeah.
They called it the K Solo hat first. I wore that hat, because I was a fighter, and I'm Scottish too. So my great grandfather was Scottish, and that's the hat he wore. So my mother made sure that was a signature in my boxing and my rap. But and I'm gonna say this to you too. I have a community. Shout out to the EPMD Foundation. That's how we got here.
Absolutely. Much respect to EPMD.
I seen EPMD one night. I was doing a show at SOBs, and they was doing a show at Madison Square Garden. And before I hit the show, I went outside on the outside and just felt the energy in the air, and I knew that the epic return of the great one is going to be big. I know that Dorothy Saunders and the Salvation Army that looked out for me, and Butch Harley, and all came when we was kids. I had all these people that put a little bit of spin to my ideology to make me think the way I think, and I'm always here to further the legacy. And shout out to Norman Whitfield, and I want to shout out to Clarence Avon's family, Nicole and her brother. Saying we tragically lost their mother through that some crazy dude broke in the house, and I think about it a lot. These people were dear to Norman and my father's side of the crew. My father, Big Charlie Madison, was the bass player who played on a lot of those Gordon Parks Jr. soundtracks. And Teddy Roosevelt, the one that played and That's My Mama, and the one that played in Good Times, he was the pimp. That was my dad's best friend.
Well, okay.
So yeah, my dad was raised in Harlem, grew up in West Virginia, but raised in Harlem. I met my mother in Brooklyn when they had me in Queens. I'm a product of them. Um, my dad never wanted to make it into music, but he played, and my uncle Aaron, his brother, played with BB King. Um, my grandfather, their father, was a banjo player who played in the Appalachian Mountains. He was a coal miner, originally from Perry, Alabama. Where he met my grandmother, Daisy Scott, who's related to Martin Luther King's wife. And then they met, and then they moved to West Virginia and had my father. And then when my grandfather died, they moved to Harlem. And when I talked to, when I was with Melvin Kelly in Roscoe's, and he met Norman Whitfield, and Norman Whitfield let me have the board, the MCI 500, that a lot of those songs were made on. Very heavy board, very loud, and it takes a minute to turn on, but it's a piece of history. And he would give me pointers um, about how to build an empire in the music industry and what I had to look out for. Just a special guy, man. I had a lot of great times with Norman. Shout out to Norman Richards, Jr. too, who's mixing some stuff. We're gonna holler at him too. But I had a real a great childhood thanks to the Salvation Army and Dorothy Saunders. Every year we was at Starling Camp, and with Gene Harley, the Whites, the Grays, the Harveys. My community, my father had friends that all moved out to Long Island with us, so we all grew up together. You know what I'm saying? So my dad, when he had us in Queens, Mr. Gray had his, Mr. Tyler had his, and the Whites had theirs, and they all moved to Central Islip together, and we all grew up together. So we always had a community, and if one got in some shit, we'd all be there. Um, Shout out to my to Mrs. Gray and Mr. Gray. They passed. They're on to glory. Um, Beautiful people that just gave us the runs that we had to run. And I'm saying this tonight because I want the younger generation that hears this to understand that it's okay to tap back into your base. It's okay to get those stories and to get inspired by them. That's what I did, and it benefited me in a lot of ways. You know, just to find my way from that community to where I'm at today. It's like I would have been lost without them leading me to the way. Shout out to my godmother, Margaret Jackson, too. Every time I got kicked out of my mother's house, the Shinnecock Indians would pick me up. And they would bring me to I'd raid their ice box. And when I go to court, she'd take me from Ossining, New York. She was a Sing Sing CO, and then she would come take me to Riverhead, make sure I didn't get locked. You know, shout out to Gordon Thomas and Freddie Thomas. Their mother, Beverly, was very close to my mother. That's Aunt Margaret's sister, Margaret Jackson's sister. And they're also related to 50 Cent's grandfather. I know he's a Shinnecock Indian, too. That's why 50 is very, very, very on point.
One of
You
the
see that light skin, he's a Shinnecock Indian.
Oh yeah, okay. One of the
Yeah,
things I found that was very, very amazing about your history is that which actually shows that you was predestined for music. When you was born, your dad was actually performing
yeah.
on the
Playing at the
Apollo
Apollo.
Theater, man. That is
Yeah,
amazing,
yeah,
man. That's
yeah,
like
yeah.
some
My dad was
amazing,
there.
like, yeah, how does
Yeah,
that work?
yeah,
Yeah, that's amazing.
yeah. My mother told me. She said he sung a song called "The Greatest Hurt," and I was born. So my mother goes in the hospital on Good Friday,
Hmm?
April 17th on a Good Friday, and I'm born that Saturday. My mother said she had given birth to me at 1:05 in the morning, and I was 5 pounds and 3 ounces. And my father came home to me, even though he didn't win, he had a son. And we lived on 131st Street. So did my father's mother. Daisy Scott Madison. She lived there too. And then from there, um, my mother moved to Long Island with all the other the community.
Wow.
You know, Denise Gray, Diana Gray, Vaughn, Jackie, we all grew up together. They live right behind us. The Whites lived down the street. They lived, you know, and the Tylers lived across town. That was our community. And then the Whites, the Grays, I mean, the Harleys, the Grays, everybody else, we all went to Salvation Army Church with Major Saunders. And me and Butch played drums. And yeah, music was a big part of my life. And then boxing with Tony Fortunato was very early, from 8 years old till we became adults, until I started getting locked up. And then I made Tell the World My Name at the first album. And then I met DMX in there. Me and DMX had uh, the biggest battle in jail history, in that jail
Yeah.
history. And yeah, it was just like, I didn't quit. It wasn't like we were snapping at each other. He had his shit, I had my shit, and we were just going back and forth to see who had the shit. And that's how that, you know, that's how you was gonna do that in them days.
Yeah, that's how it was back then when I grew up. It wasn't, well, first of all, you couldn't nowhere near disrespect someone the way these guys do. That would be the end of the rap song. You say something wrong to me to the left, oh, we got to fight. That would, yeah, that is, this here is not even, I don't know what this is, but that's how it was when we was growing up. It was who had the best skill form. And that's what we would go back and forth. See who got the best skill, who have the best flow, who have the best wordplay. It was more of a that was more considered a battle, you know. Um, Speaking about boxing again, because being that you have so much history with boxing, did you see the Tyson Fury fight? How did you feel
I
about
know he
that?
lost that fight, right? He
Yeah,
lost that
yeah,
fight, right?
yeah, he lost.
Oh yeah, he's advanced in age. He's advanced in age. I figured that. I seen that when Wilder caught him, you could tell he was on the downside. He was coming out of his prime shit, you know. You
Hmm.
could tell he was not the same guy, and this new guy from Yugoslavia handled his business pretty sufficient, you know. But
Hmm.
I could tell he was on his way out. A heavyweight, you know, their prime is like 5 years top.
Yeah, yeah, that's unfortunate. I mean, it was, something to see. I didn't think that. I thought he would have pulled through that fight, but uh, now even more like hyped up. What do you think about the Ryan Garcia and him being found? They said he got found with you know, uh, the stuff
Yeah, the
inside his
steroids.
system. Yeah,
Yeah, the
this.
steroids.
Hmm.
I think he's got to probably fight him again. I think they should give. But you know, the way here's the thing: with a guy as tall as Brian is, towards Ganey's a little shorter. You could tell it was going to be a one-sided fight, and usually the big good guy is better than the good little guy. Usually,
So you think they should fight again because of the steroids found in Garcia's system, or do you think Garcia should?
yeah, I think they should. I think they should fight.
His dad is calling for him to be banned. That he should be banned from boxing for life. You know.
Well, I don't know about that. I think he should get him another fight again. But you know, I'm gonna go to that Tank fight. Tank's fighting Frank Martin, June 20th, June 15th.
How you think that's
I'll
gonna
be
go?
in. Well, it's like, you know, I'm leaning on Tank winning, but like I said, this is going to be a good fight. Tank, um, Frank Martin ain't nothing to play with, you know, and he hurt, and they was playing and sparring, and he hit him and pissed him off. So that's going to be a good fight, you know. But a lot of people think that Tank's not going to win this fight.
Hmm.
Well, I'm thinking that not a lot of people, but what's his name? Mayweather's saying that he doesn't think Frank's going to win this fight. I mean, he doesn't think Tank's going to win this fight.
I mean, did you think that might be bias of him a little bit because of
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. His
exactly.
take right now on him. Well, here's another thing too. I think that they're playing hardball. When you start talking about somebody's daughter and you're saying stuff, you know, that has nothing to do with nothing, just to hurt a person's
No,
feelings.
of course.
I think that's a little I don't think that's cool. But I think a lot of this comes from how we think about ourselves. Again, I think that's the ancestors playing the trick on us again. I mean, not ancestors, the oppressors that spun us. And why would you say that about his daughter? Come on, man, you know. And I know he's got some issues going on right now, Mayweather. But it's like, come on, you guys are supposed to have some kind of respect for each other. You're supposed to have some kind. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to all be, you know, you know, f you, and you guys got to have some kind of solidarity with each other. You would think, right? They were business associates, right?
Yeah, he wouldn't. There wouldn't be one. He wouldn't be there. Be no Tank without Mayweather. Mayweather
Exactly.
started
Without
him out.
Mayweather,
Yeah,
Mayweather promoted him.
yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
That's what I said.
No,
That's exactly what I said too. But just weird how that happens. How they think of it.
you think it's over for Deontay Wilder? You think in this era of boxing he have a chance to?
Yeah, 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 man. He's not a really skilled fighter. He's not a skilled fighter. Like when I seen him fight, Mark Breland was his trainer. He fired Mark Breland like he was crazy. I don't think. I think he got a right hand. He's got a good right hand. And if you get past the right hand, then you're gonna get him. You know. But I don't think he's a skilled fighter like he doesn't he does I don't see the throwing punches together like that. He throws wild punches. If I was a heavyweight, I'd have tore his ass up.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Because he telegraphs everything. You see what he's gonna do. He doesn't look like he could yeah, he doesn't look like he knows the basics like that. He's looking for that right hand.
yeah. He
He's
relied on
headhunting
that
for
right
that right hand.
hand. Yeah, that right hand
Yeah.
took him through
He's a
his
one
whole
trick. Yeah,
career.
that makes him a one trick pony. It's easy to beat guys like that. But for the most of it, he should make the best of it. I'd like to see him fight Anthony, even though Anthony Joshua is way well rounded now. When
Absolutely.
I seen him take apart Francis Ngannou like that, like as quick as he did,
Mhm.
you could tell AJ came into himself. AJ is fully, like, his reflexes are where they need to be as a heavyweight fighter. He's as good as I ever saw him fight, and I think he's going to be very hard to beat.
And he
And I
knows
don't
how to
see
take a
Wilder trying to
loss.
make that fight now. Yeah, I don't see Wilder trying to make that fight right now.
Yeah, yeah. And he knows how to take a loss. I don't think I saw Wilder really know how to take a loss. That you know means a whole lot when you know how to take a loss and come back and it don't, mess with your head, you know. I've seen Anthony Joshua take a loss and he come back and actually become a better fighter. You know.
Yeah, that's when that's how it's supposed to be. But like I said, the ideology between people's minds and how they think, the way people think, is how they live.
Yeah.
And that's why that's why people have the issues. It's how they are trained to think. Because what, like I said, it comes to life on their ass, whether they realize it or not. It happens.
Somebody from your crew, which my heart goes out to this person. I was watching them on interviews, and I felt like the person that was interviewing them wasn't qualified to interview them because they didn't catch on the key things that the man was saying. He was, which is Keith Murray, and he was saying that he have so much death, he's experienced so much death in his life, and all his family is dead, all his closest friends is dead, and they more trying to get with him about who he done had sex with, and all this other dumb stuff, and to now see them making videos of him like how he's spiraling like just down and seem like he's on drugs and everything like that. Didn't you bring Keith Murray into the game?
Yeah, yeah. I brought Keith Murray. I knew his aunts real good, Jocko, Vicky Hall, and Melissa. Um, they're real close. They were real close. They would take us to the gyms all the time. Like when we need a ride, we can get a ride with Vicky. So yeah, I put him on, but I really wasn't involved in him like I was Reggie. I didn't really have, because his whole dynamic was different. Like when he came, I don't understand how he had all of those people. When you carrying that many of entourage of that many people, it spells disaster in a lot of areas. And I don't know how he got the information. I don't know who let him do that. Like who cleared that? Like I said, at the end of the day, there always has to be, like I was saying, get through, you have to get through quality control. How did that get through quality control? Like who was on the watch when that was coming down? Like did somebody let that
Absolutely.
go?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's too many people. And then you got to remember too, when it's guys that are coming from there, that's coming from nowhere. What I mean by nowhere is they have no business being here. Like there's no job for you to do. It's problems. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, that's the first no. And then it spiraled out of control. But like I said, we pulling for him. I'm sure that he got enough resources to make some adjustments. You know, um, he's got to make some real solid adjustments, and then you got to be honest with yourself in that adjustment too, because you can bullshit yourself, which is the worst thing to do. Because really don't. I never really thought of that till you said that, but yeah, I've been here. Some people have been telling me about they saw his videos, and then again, you never know. He might be just doing that to play. I don't even know. Not serious. It's real.
Very sad too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You've had people record him without him, you know, like, like they've done
Right,
recorded
right.
him, and yeah, it's
Oh, okay.
not a good situation.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, we're gonna pray for him, and
Yeah, absolutely.
you
Much
know,
shout
and,
out to
and
that.
hope that
Because he's another legend. He's a legend that you brought into this game. And, Keith
yeah,
Murray's a legend. No matter what, no one look at it or say, that
yeah, that's
the
true. Yeah, yeah,
brother's a legend.
yeah. No, this is true. Yeah, he's definitely a pillar in hip hop.
Yes.
Yep. Um, yeah, but I said that's very true. That's why I was telling these young kids, man. Like, if you coming in this game, man, have a plan, have a set agenda, stick to your goals, be focused, be humble. When you meet these people, because you never know when you're gonna see these people again or what part they're gonna play. This whole shit is a big movie. Everybody has a part to play, and most thing you don't want to be is a part of a circus. You know, my team is branded Wolves Are Us. We are not part of no circus. We can't be tamed. And we're not gonna sit on the thing and we ain't doing it. And wolves don't have sex with their mothers and they feed the elderly in their pack. Be a wolf, my friend. You know, because yeah yeah, this rap shit is a circus right now. A whole bunch of clowns.
When you was over on
And it
Death
ain't even funny.
when you was over in Death Row, did you have the opportunity of ever chopping it up with Pac or meeting Pac? Because you was
Yeah,
there
yeah, yeah.
during that time.
Yeah.
How
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah.
that?
Me and Tupac.
Yeah.
Me and Tupac talk. I mean, when I first saw him come out of jail, I greeted him first. And he said, "The fugitive." And I said, "Yo, man." And then I came out of the studio and then he took the studio over that I was in. Um, and, only difference, like I said, it was like a pissing contest over there. It was getting, it's fucked up. And it's funny you say that. It's like I noticed that. Not that me and them ever had any issues, but I noticed that when we were all in there, Snoop, Dr. Dre, K Solo, Tupac, and our camps, and Suge, there was three gang elements in that environment in Can-Am Studio. It was uh the Pyru Bloods, and it was the Rolling 60s were corrupt, and then it was Snoop, rolling 20s. So you had three of these very dangerous, highly sophisticated gangs, all sizing each other up at the same time, trying to do business together. And you had a whole bunch of other, what we call, 'cause we're not civilians. Um, we were active, but we weren't gang members, but we were street active. I'd say live action guys. But we're mixed in the middle of that too. And everybody's trying to, the outlaws are on the fence because when anything pop is to the fence, they gotta come and so it kind of put them in a real precarious situation because everybody was trying to see what team was gonna break. And whoever broke, they were gonna be food.
Oh boy, yeah.
No, I'm serious. That's what I didn't know. I'm just saying that's what it was. That's what it was though. Everybody sizing each other up, waiting to see a crack in the armor. And once they saw the crack in the armor, they attacked Sam. You know what I'm saying? Now I don't know. He knew that part. But Sam comes from me too, but now he's on his own doing his own thing. Because I discovered it. And believe me, if I was there when that would have went down, they'd have had to get me too because I'm loyal, right? I wasn't gonna let that happen to him. So God knew what he was doing. Um, I just remember. I remember that there was in a standoff, and I remember when he got on that stage. This is why I knew it was going to be an issue. He was making a lot of heat over it. He had like a real strong streak. I remember Sam Snead producing uh, Natural Born Killer with Dre. Keep Your Heads Ringing. I mean, he was just killing shit over there. I remember one time when we first got there, Snoop looked at Dr. Dre and said, Dr. Dre, Sam Snead sending niggas back to the drawing board. I remember that shit. So he had a lot of attention on it. And then when Dre left, he wouldn't, when Suge said, all right, man, say that nigga gay. He wouldn't say it. That was an issue. And then also before he got to that,
Oh.
when his intro, when he came at the end of that show, New York, he was smiling on stage, and none of them niggas was smiling. I knew that was going to be an issue. I mean, it's showing kink in your armor. But he's a nice guy, though. He's not really trying to portray that shit. So when he was doing that, he's inviting the element. You understand?
I
I
know.
never smiled or laughed over there. Ever. I was straight face every time because I knew where I was. And I knew one sign of weakness, you're gonna have to throw them hooks and you're gonna have to throw a couple of right hands. You're gonna have to do some shit and you better do it conventionally. Because like I said, if you fight somebody in jail, it's true. And you fight somebody in jail and you half fight them, you got 20 more fights coming.
Oh no, yeah, you always got someone that's the ones that's watching say, "Oh, I could take him." So yeah, like you
Right.
said, you better
So
do
if
it
you don't
picture
do it
perfect.
officially, you got to
Yeah,
do it. Yeah, you got to do it bad. I remember this guy came in. I think it was Havoc's brother. I don't know if it was because somebody tells me Havoc's brother was tall, but I'm gonna describe this guy. He had no fronts, and he was very dark skinned, and he had no shirt on, and he came in with dirty ass shorts and some fucked up sneakers. But he was ripped. Body was like he was ripped. So my man Chris Addison, you'll hear his music. He coming out on my label from Amityville. The motherfucker sing his ass off. Chris Addison. Shout out to Chris Addison.
shout out. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, this motherfucker Chris Addison's a bad motherfucker. The Rough Riders was gonna sign Chris Addison too, but he wouldn't do it because he was like, nah, nigga, X ain't right, Spellbound. I was with you. I was with Chris first. Then I met X. X used that to get on. I ain't mad at him. Do what you gotta do. God bless him. So the guy comes into jail and he sees this white kid's sneakers. And this white kid was pretty beefy, Italian white kid. So the white kid's sleeping and he takes his sneakers and he puts his dirty sneakers under his mat and he got his sneakers on. He's sleeping with them on. So as soon as the white guy woke up, I didn't know because we were all in the dorm together. And all I heard is, I want my fucking sneakers. So we look and the black dude's looking and he makes sure that the cops ain't in the bubble. I mean, the cops ain't in the bubble. He 52 stomps this nigga out. Yo, no, real talk. Yo, big, you know me, I ain't gonna fucking play no games, nigga. When I tell you he scaled this nigga in about 3 moves, it was over. He hit him with the elbow, bow, bow, broke him up. Bling, bling. The cops, when they got in the bubble, nobody said nothing. The white boy was on the floor leaking. He was out. We was like, oh shit. No, real shit. Chris Addison to tell a story too. So when they got him on the girdle and took him out, the black dude's sneakers was on the back of his bunk. We was like, yo. The next day, same nigga. Nobody even took the food off the cart yet. He woke up just mad to be, he didn't want to be in jail. He turned the whole fucking table over. None of you motherfuckers is eating. I looked at Wine Dance because, you know, we worked the food cart. Chris Addison and me worked the food cart. So we got our food. We looking at these niggas like. Nobody said nothing. We was like, oh shit. So you know me, I'm peeping the scene. I'm looking. These are niggas that we was, you know, Mexican standoff with. These niggas is scared of this nigga.
Yeah.
Chris is like, yo, man, but we're not really scared of him because I know. Listen, it's great. You're not gonna grab me though. It looks good, but I already know how this shit's gonna go if it goes down. So every time we went to yard, I stayed next to him. In other words, because you know, we call him, you know, because he was live while we was live too. So he's like, all right, fuck it. You know, see, remember the key to any fight is distance. So I just wanted to be close to his case. But when he comes in, I come in too to make the impact of a blow. You know, he come in and I hit him coming in, he's gonna help me knock him out, right? So, but he never ever stunted on us. The Amityville niggas, the Wine Dance niggas started giving them commissary. They tried to be, you know, friendly with him. He was like, look at these niggas. So, you know what I'm trying to say? When you get to see 95% of these motherfuckers is not built right, there's only a couple of us out here. You know what I'm saying? Like these motherfuckers was giving him commissary to be friends. They weren't comfortable with him, you know, tipping shit over and doing what he wanted. Nobody wanted to, yo, man. No, I'm talking about niggas in the yard all day lifting weights. Nobody saying nothing. So, you know, he gets out of jail and he tells Intelligent Hoodlum, he says, yo, I bid it with that nigga Solo. He said, I don't know what these niggas is talking about. I bid it with him, and that motherfucker's live. And then Intelligent Hoodlum asked him, he said, yo, man, you think you could get him? He said, nah, I have to shoot that nigga. That nigga can fight. In other words, and I told Intelligent Hoodlum, I said, describe him. When he described him, I knew who he was talking about. I said, oh, shit. Because he came in, you know, he came in on some live shit. You know what I'm saying? Tearing shit down everywhere he went. He told Intelligent Hoodlum, he said, I don't know what they're talking about this motherfucker. Because, you know, he seen me have my events too. Um, but you know, that's why I say warriors respect.
Of
Everybody know
course.
nobody wants a long fight, bro. It's gotta be the last resort. You know what I'm saying? My food never got touched. He was shaking them niggas down for commissary after that. You know, he never came over there with us. He knew every dog, every monkey knows which tree to climb up.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I'm saying? You can say all that shit. Everybody talks that shit. Like my mother says, did they come to you? I said, no. She said, all right then. So you can say, as long as you didn't knock on the door, we don't have no issue. Because you're allowed to say what the fuck you want to say. As long as you don't come in this vicinity with that shit, what I'm going to do? Because everybody wants to be a tough guy. But like I said, when you try a jaw, when you try the nose and the shit starts leaking up, it's not a tough guy. They want to, hey, what are we fighting over? They want to have a conversation. 95% of these motherfuckers is like that. Like I said, as soon as Suge got hit, it was over. He didn't want to, he was talking, I'll kill your mother. As soon as he got hit, bah, it was over. There was no get up and got knocked out, called the cops on the nigga, press charges on the nigga.
Damn.
Yo, print it. Press charges, got knocked out and press charges on my bro. And then nigga only hit him one time. So imagine there was just 10 of them in the room. See, that's what I be saying. That's why everybody do all of this. I don't do all of that because once you get hit in your face, bro, hard by a nigga who knows how to step into the shit, it's gonna be a different scenario, bro. And if you don't know how to wrestle, get out of that shit, or really handle your business, it's gonna be a problem. Remember, there's another thing too. There's UFC motherfuckers walking around here that could. I know a nigga named Bobby Gamboa is my size. He will fight any motherfucker, anybody, anywhere, anytime, any place. If he grab you, it's gonna be a long night, baby. So I said I was living out there in Orange County with them crazy white boys with the cauliflower ears, and I was looking at these mother. I was like, whoa. And I knew who was there, you know what I'm saying? Because you in their hood, you see who's what. And I used to say to myself, you know, they used to say, how the fuck are you? Because I can go any fucking way. I can handle my business. You know what I'm saying? To say they can play with me, be on the ground playing, rolling. You know what I'm saying? I know these motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? But the point I'm trying to make is there's some motherfuckers you run into, you're gonna have to go with them. Average motherfucker is not trying to engage with nobody like that. You know, they gotta, I mean, you know, talking is one thing, but actually go through that shit, whole another story, bro. I seen motherfuckers panic as soon as they get on the ground. I seen it. I'm not used to that.
A whole
You know what I'm
different
saying?
fighting on the ground and standing up. A whole
Yeah.
different fight.
I seen a motherfucker on the ground start panicking like his leg is pulling. Oh, my leg. You just uncomfortable on the ground. I get it. But you know what I'm saying? I was in the neighborhood with the white boys yelling, white power, and they would stay right where the fuck they are with that shit. They knew not to come. You know what I'm saying? Like we knew who they were. I spun a lot of them out of that shit too when I would start talking to them and go, well, Corey. I would ask this guy, there was a skinhead named Corey. I said, Corey, so this guy's black. I'm black. You don't like these guys. I said, what if that white guy raped your daughter and shot your mother? And I let him thought about that over a beer. Yo, when I opening their ass up talking to them, motherfuckers was drinking with black people when I finished with them. I know what you know, you gotta have the conversation with them though.
Yeah,
You make them
absolutely.
see the picture with a beer and his mind's open, and then you start talking to them. These motherfuckers ain't crazy, bro. Let me explain something to you. Cause you my man. And I respect you. Always did. You a bodyguard, you know what I'm talking about. You gotta
Of
have
course.
5 points of contact to pull this shit off to get that check. So you gotta be on point. You gotta know senses, everything gotta be alert. So you know, average motherfucker, man, like I said, these is average motherfuckers that haven't ever went through any of this shit. Now, if you put one of them little, you know, these little rappers like my son's age in the motherfucking cage with one of these motherfuckers, and you put the gun out their hand and let them fight, and they get on the ground, they not only gonna get tapped out, they're gonna get hurt. So that's what I'm saying. There are levels to this shit. So, you know what I'm saying? I try to school these motherfuckers so they don't get in the shit like that. Because if you get in jail and you ain't got that shit with you, and them tables don't move, and they slam you to the head, you gonna hit your head on the table, it'd be fatal, man. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm saying, yo, think this shit out, man, because there's some predators out there, man. My man Kevin Lee, my man Dewey trains him, he's the Motown Phenom, solid motherfucker fighter. Ground game off the meat rack and game off the meat rack. There's some solid motherfuckers out here. I'm just mad that UFC came at the time it came because, you know, guys that I grew up with, like, you know, in my neighborhoods could have benefited from that would good with their shit, like Wayne Booker, you know, Calaboo, Jeff Ridley. All of these guys was nice with their hands. John Coleman. These guys was nice with their hands. If the UFC was early and they would have had a shot, you never know. We would have had some stars in that shit too.
Wow, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But we didn't get a chance to experience that when it came. These guys were past their prime and already, in the element. Maybe some of them are still career criminals, or some of them are just retired now. But you could have did something if you'd have had an opportunity to, improve a ground game or striking defense. A lot of people making money. Like, there's a lot of people making money out here doing that shit and making careers out of it and making good money.
I recently, with this 50 years of hip hop celebration, even though it was longer than 50 years, but this 50 years of hip hop celebration, pretty much went to all the different shows, and
Defense.
yeah, and I felt an absence of the EPMD Hit Squad, Def Squad movement.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I can't understand. It hurt me because the last 50 years of hip hop, the last 30 some years of it, 35, 30, was built up off of, had a lot to do with you guys. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Yeah, yeah.
like, how y'all
Well,
are
I just
not
in
highlighted.
the defense. No, in the defense of that big, I think that you know, EPMD is a little younger than I am, and solid as they are. EPMD, they're a cornerstone in hip hop still, even not without us showing up at 50 years. But the thing is, like, I mean, I agree with that, but I think that the Hit Squad, they need better leadership in their crew. You know what I'm saying? Because I think they led the cavalry as long as they could now, and I think that you know, but you never know. With them, you never know. I think they're enough. They might figure it out. I'm not gonna count them out. They might figure this thing out, man, because a lot of crazy things happen. But I will say this though, um, when you see them on stage and you know, they still command a lot of respect. I just know when you put that MIG out there and it's UPMD, K Solo, Redman, DOS Effects, and then Murray, we never did that yet. We don't know what that looks like. You know, we don't know what that looks like. Murray was with Def Squad. He never really rolled with the whole squadron. So I don't know what that looks like. But I'm sure some promoters will make it happen if it's doable, because at the end of the day, they're still alive. Um, Everybody can still come and do their thing. I just gonna make sure Vaughn is you know, centered around it, because he's gonna benefit with carrying us into the millennium on that new stuff. Um, yeah, he's a future. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think that VSG, the guys in VSG are making a lot of conversations going to. We're working with on Hot 97 on some things, and shout out to Ricky and his pop. Um, you know, you never know what happens. I'm moving pretty fast out here, and I'm getting acclimated real quick, and I'm starting to bring things together that I didn't think I could bring together, and they're coming together real fast. Shout out to Sam Sneed. Sam Sneed's building his house out in Long Island. Crazy. Was hanging out with him. Didn't get a chance to hear the songs that did with Snoop, but shout out to Dr. Dre too, because they still rocking. I heard that Snoop's new album's coming out. It's gonna come out dope. Can't wait to hear that. You never know, man. The Hit Squad, Squadron, I would say, is especially for the 50 years of hip hop. It would be nice to see them all take the stage and do the damn thing, because it's still alive. The only
Absolutely.
thing yeah, they're still alive, and you're right about that. I missed that too. But like I said, it's never too late. It's just opportunity has to present itself in the right time. Me and Redman are doing something. I was on the phone with Reggie today. Shout out to Funk Doc. Muddy Waters 2, Off the Hook. He's gonna send me a beat. Um, let me see if he's got the right track for us. But we're going in again. and I'm dropping my album right behind his. They'll be helping pay the double album. It'll be ready. I was listening to it today. Yeah, it's a great treat. Um, and yeah, there's a room for this right now. There's a lot of room for this because that's the only thing I think hip hop is missing. That and the MC Hammer revival. Miss Hammer rapping too. I miss Hammer though.
No, Hammer,
One thing I
yeah.
loved about Hammer, you know what I loved about Hammer though, because one thing about him, he took care of his whole hood, man.
Yeah.
Took care of everybody, and he was a great businessman, and he threw on a damn good show. And it wasn't our style, but you know what? Our children's loved it,
No, we didn't, and our parents. We didn't
and our
understand it.
parents.
Yeah, we didn't understand it then because what it was hip
I
hop
loved
was
him.
to be a certain way. I loved the music, but it wasn't like it was we had in our heads, but that ain't hip hop though. You know what I'm saying? But now that I'm older, I could definitely see.
Could appreciate it.
Yeah, oh, okay. Actually, that was hip hop, and then we kind of needed it. You know what I'm saying? But I think that much shout out to the first generation of hip hop. I
Of
salute those
course, yeah.
guys. I just did a great interview with Coke LaRock.
God bless
Kaz,
Copeland.
yeah, Kaz is my brother. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Shout out to
Grandmaster
all,
Caz.
yeah, exactly, all of those dudes. I much respect. But it was the second generation that made it what it was. You know what I'm saying? And,
Right.
it was my generation. That I seen you guys, and without y'all, hip hop wouldn't have got to where it's at right now. It was the EPMDs, the K Solos, the LL Cool J's, that whole, the Red Mans, you know what I'm saying? Even the NWA and all of that. There was that second generation that laid, that made hip hop what it is now. And yeah, I just would like to see you guys definitely figure this out because I'm like, yeah, how could you can't even do this without y'all guys. You know what I'm saying? Like this is y'all played too big of a role in, this whole thing. This
Shout out to my man Ice Cube,
yeah.
Cube Vision.
Yeah, Ice Cube too, yeah.
Right on point. Shout out to Scotty Esdale and Michael Bivens. Yo, you on point. Um,
Hmm.
like I said, there's room for the growth. It's just that, me and Redman working on some shit too, man. We'll figure it out. We'll
Yeah,
talk to Doc
please,
about
yeah.
it.
Y'all
And
have to.
but the predecessors are stronger than the precursors anyway, right?
Say that again.
Predecessors are stronger than the ones that precursor, right?
Yeah, I would say so.
I mean, as far as making things happen,
Yes,
that's what
I
I
would
would say.
say so, yes. Hmm.
So I said, it starts with me and Reggie.
Hmm.
Yeah, me and Reggie can make it
Of course you can, and
happen.
and I think it'll be very I think it would be very major for hip hop, and I think it's needed. You know what I'm saying? It's needed because this generation that's out right now, they don't understand. You know what I'm saying? They only understand what's being put in front of them. You know what I'm saying? They need the K Solos to come back on stage, the Keith Murray. Like they laughing at these dudes don't even know what do like, are you kidding me? Do you even know who that is? Do you even know what foundation they laid so that you can have this right now the way it is. The way you even dress and the way we even walk and the way we even talk was laid down by these guys. These guys didn't bite each other back then. You know what I'm saying? These guys couldn't sound like each other. They had to come out with different styles and everything. And all of those different styles that's combined is what made this whole large platform that we have right now. So it's needed. I think it's really, really needed, brother. So if you could talk to the fellas and fellas, work out whatever they need to bring that back for the kids, and teach the kids. Think it'll think it'll be something major because y'all was definitely
No
missed.
doubt.
Y'all was definitely missed. What you have coming in the future that you want to, let the people know and everything.
chain, that token is coming. That shit is gonna be crazy. That blockchain VSC is coming. Sharpshooters. No, what did I say? Sharpshooters. Wolves Are Us. That mixtape is dropping in another week. DJ B Scratch is on it right now. Shout out to George Spivey, DJ Scratch. Um, what else? Oh yeah, and yeah, that's coming. And the Straight Jackin mixtape is coming. Shout out to Sir Jinx. He's gonna be hosting it. We got that coming, and we got a couple of shout out to my man Rob. We're gonna do these podcasts, Space Coast, not Ghost, not Space Coast, but Space Coast,
Space
because we're on the
Coast,
Space
got you.
Coast. Yeah, we're where the shuttle goes up. And listen out for NASA, Negroes about serious action. Mixtapes coming. And listen out for Muddy Waters. We're working on that. Reggie, Muddy Waters 2 is coming. And listen out, man. We're gonna be on the road too, man. We're gonna be hitting the tour. Slim Wolf, my son's coming. Yo, we coming.
Absolutely, man. And I got, much respect for you. And when y'all do hit that road, give me a call, brother. I'll
Oh
be,
yeah, we're gonna give you a call
yeah,
first. Boy, Bigga, you know it.
yeah, exactly. I'll be right there. And I had that police protection out there for you too. You
Yes,
know what
sir.
I'm
Yes, sir.
saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Shout out to you and your wife, man. Y'all doing a great job with this platform, man. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah, thank you. That means a lot to me, brother. I'm trying to, everything we writing is a book. You know what I'm saying? One day our lives will be over. And the only thing our kids and our grandkids will have to look back on is everything that we did. And I try to tell these guys that, even the young kids with the raps and stuff, I try to tell them, watch what you're saying in your rhyme, because you laying that down. And that is what your grandkids one day, your family and people in the future going to know of you. If they want to figure out something, they're going to have to go look at your rhymes, and you writing down kill, murder, do drugs, do this, that stuff. Like, we can't put that out into the world. You know what I'm saying? Let's put out positivity. Let's put out love and the fear of God, because, we all have a common enemy. No matter what religion that you want to say it is, no matter what you want to believe this. We all got a common enemy, and that's death. And we need to all be trying to figure it out before that common enemy come to take us all, because it's coming for us all.
All right, New York City, the world over. We are signing out. Be safe. Love each other. Respect. Hip hop is one nation under God. And remember, we are all products of our parents.
Yes, we are.
We represent them everywhere we go. Let's represent our parents everywhere we go.
Absolutely.
God bless you. Thank you for being here with us tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world. But as Meth and Red said, you were here with us tonight.
Much love to you, brother. And I'm going to talk to you
To you.
sooner than you think.